Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to race number 6 of the Bwoah Racing League Season 4, and we head to fabulous circuit de Barcelona-Catalunya, the Spanish GP as it stands. Race number 6, Spanish GP. I'm all set for it, circuit de Barcelona-Catalunya, and we can't wait to see the action out on track. And of course, 3 sectors as always, 2 DRS zones, 1 infinite one, the main straight as always an incredible place for overtaking like we saw last season around at the same track. An impressive couple of moves, mainly between 2 drivers, Victory 56 and UK. On lap number 17, we saw Victory 56 dive down the inside of UK, taking position. And but not for long, clearly enough, because when you go up against a race winner like UK, you better be sure to get your position swap real quick. UK came back fighting the next lap around, that drove down the inside wheel to wheel around turn number 1, into position as well. Of course, our previous race winner at the very same track is currently not on track. He is Duncan Monkey, the supreme leader, who finished ahead of the then title contender, Big Man Joe. So title contenders finished 1 and 2. Incredible. Unfortunately, we won't get to see that here today, considering General Pepe is the only title contender out on track. And Ruds, I hope you're with me.
Yes, I'm here, Sarthak, and back to Catalonia once again after the pre-season testing. So, experience from all the drivers on the grid?
Yep. Wait, was that a question? I'm a bit confused.
No. I was just mentioning that they do have some experience for this season at least, and a general know-how of how each driver drives here.
Of course. We did see them do pre-season testing here, of course, and what a pre-season testing that was. If my memory serves me right, the drivers who did well here during pre-season testing in specific were Chris Bay. He did pretty well. General Pepe, of course, the one time he came out during pre-season testing, did a good job himself. So yeah, both of them are out on track. Unfortunately, that KDB is not out there. He's currently running a 24 hours race at Kailami, alongside the rest of the Roadrunner Racing boys who we talk about in the Rims and Sim podcast.
Yep, and that is an exciting venture that is going on right now, and the boys really battled hard, and they have made quite a few significant strides in the last I think 4 or 5 hours, because there were a lot of issues starting in the beginning.
Yeah, a lot of issues. I came in here prepared to not talk about it, just so the commentator's curse doesn't fall all the way from BRL to the race there on. But yeah,
that power is only there for Matthew Gallagher, I think, and not for us.
Let's but still, so. Sector 1 and 2 go yellow, and Gouts gets disqualified, parked in a dangerous location. I wonder what happened there.
I have a feeling he might have stopped. Oh, Vex takes the ball out at the pit entry. Nice. But I think that Dots maybe slowed down for someone who was maybe overtaking him, but it was a bad place to slow down. I don't know. But that's only up to the driver to tell. Nick starts his fastest lap, his fast lap. And I think he's one of the first ones to do so. Him and Chris Pye and Honing.
Meanwhile, UK back with his same old trick. Hyrox 24 in the middle of the track. What's wrong with him? He pretty much blocked UK there. And UK gets pushed to the grass. But back to what I was saying about UK. He's on the inters trying to lay down some rubber.
That's become his weekly ritual. And to be honest, I actually quite like that. You lay some rubber on the track, you get a feel of the track, how it feels now based on the weather and the temperatures and everything. It's just, I don't know, it's a very sneaky way. I wouldn't call it a cheat sheet, but yeah, it's pretty nice. Yeah. Avi has retired. Oof. Avi has spun into the corner, Sarthak, at turn 1.
Unfortunate for Avi. He almost couldn't make it to the qualifying session, but he made it just to not set a time at all. Two drivers already fallen to the mercy of qualifying, although on their own accord, of course. I'm still curious to know what went down with Gouts. I'm pretty sure he'll be pretty mad about it. Horning sets a lap time. First lap time on the Bwoah, 1:15.981.
Impressive standing time, and the Mercedes will be hoping to gain whatever they can, because as we know, they haven't had the bestest of luck so far, right, Sarthak?
Yep, they haven't. I mean, that front row lockout 2 races ago should have been a good race for them, but ended up being horrible. Freeze getting caught off guard right at the beginning in lap 1, and then Horning having a terrible time as well. Looks like they are in the top 2 for now, but with more over half the grid having not set a time yet, it's anyone's guess who will be in front.
He also sets the time, and he's just 0.05 of a second off Horning. So the Mercedes looking strong early on, but I think they might be aiming for another front row lockout.
Initial laps, however, that's why you see the likes of XC56 and Baby Shumi up there. It'll be great if they can keep those times going. If they can set better lap times, keep themselves in the top 10, that'll be great for them. But yeah, it's kind of, I'm a bit skeptical about it, especially with those two drivers.
Wex is 1.1 seconds behind Horning, while Baby Shumi is 1.8 seconds behind Horning. So not exactly terrific times, but so far they do have the upper hand.
God seems to have left this session as well. But yeah, what do you think, Ruds? Do you think it's going to be another clean sweep? General Pepe probably going to start on pole.
I am inclined to agree, but it's a bit confusing for the pole, because I do feel that the Mercedes will have a better chance of, landing the front row seats. But yeah, you can't write him off, because if you remember during pre-season, he almost had a gap of 0.6 to 0.7 of a second at the end of the one-shot quali.
Oops. Seems like we've encountered a bit of an issue. Stay with us, folks. Don't go anywhere as we resolve it. Alright folks, we are back, and as I reconnect to the lobby itself, Ruds, what's happening out on track?
Well, we have some clarity regarding the retirements of Avi and Gots. There seems to be a mix of a technical and a driving issue. For Avi, basically he says that his game froze and he ended up crashing into the barriers and retired. Whereas for Gots, he just got DSQ'd and kicked out for no reason, but then everybody else saw that it said he was parked in a dangerous position. So it's ambiguous at this point, but yeah, these are the two retirements we have so far. But other than that, it's been pretty smooth sailing. Horning is still keeping the first spot. Freeze is right there. Both of them have kept the same timings, but Sicknig is P3 right now. Right. 9/10, almost 9/10 off the leader. So pretty smooth going, and Harry Rocks is right there.
Seems like he's
Chris Bay goes P3 just while you were talking about it.
Right, not for long, Sicknig, but it's great to see Sicknick back in probably his true form, at least towards the latter half of last season. He was qualifying in the top 5 on occasion. I believe it was P2 and P3 the Red Bull team qualified at. But however, they're back in. So yeah, I'm surprised Horning's lap time hasn't been beaten yet.
I do have a feeling that once the track evolves further, so right now we have 8 minutes left, and maybe around the 4-minute mark, we will see the lap times fall once more. I think that's the average track evolution I'm expecting.
Right. So Chris Bye, as expected, in the top 3. I'm pretty sure most of y'all who watch the league time and time again, you would have expected the top 3 to be the likes of General Pepe, Avi and Chris Bye. Now the fact that Avi is not even, going to be able to set a lap time anymore and will be starting in P19 opens up a spot in the front.
Yep.
Meanwhile, Thor coming in to replace Etoile C18 for the weekend for the McLaren team. So the UK has got Thor alongside him, who set a decent lap time, 15 fastest out on track. I feel it's going to be close to...
You mentioned UK, by the way. He's starting his fast lap, Sarthak, and he's on the mediums. So we may stick to his onboard while we talk about him.
Yeah. And speaking of which, I feel the midfield will be very competitive today, and we might just see a lot of battles in the back of the pack. Seeing Thor, VPA, and we've also got the likes of Gameblow, who might just, depending on how his pace is on this track, might just be at the back of the pack. But for now, his 9th fastest looking good from the midfield.
The Red Bulls have surprisingly held up on their own for Catalunya, but again, it's a bit tricky because I just realized that Sicknick is on the mediums when he set his lap time. So yeah, I think the Red Bulls may struggle if that's the case, with everybody setting their lap times on the mediums.
Perhaps.
Barcelona is harsh for tire wear, so yeah.
And Accelerate, however, slower than Gamela. I don't think that's going to stay for long. I'm pretty sure Accelerate is probably on a fast lap right now, but UK should cross the line, goes 5th fastest. That's pretty good. Still not as quick as Sicknick.
On the mediums.
Still not as quick as Sicknick. Okay.
I think that would have something to do with his wobble at sector 3. He almost lost the back end of the car, and we would have seen UK doing his much dreaded spins, but thankfully he avoided that.
Meanwhile, our driver, who's the fastest out there, is currently trying to set an even better lap time with over 5.5 minutes left into shock qualifying. For those of you new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and this is shock qualifying. Each driver gets to set a lap time that will confirm their spot on the grid. So quicker the lap time, higher up the grid. For the race, of course.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Are you expecting any crazy strategies or crazy, personal races from someone today, Sarthak?
Oh, curious, as you say, crazy stuff. I was just going through the drivers once again. If I missed out anyone, D'Avocado's out on track for Racing Point in the spot of KDB. So clearly, like I said, the back of the pack is going to be filled with battles. But back to your question, Ruds, I'd say Rusty Nish should have a good race today. I think he would have planned quite a bit. Ferrello, seeing that he's 15 fastest right now, isn't really great, because he's been on an upward trajectory in the past couple of races. Both the previous races, he was able to put himself on the podium. Great for him and for the team, for the constructors. So yeah, I'd say Alpha Tauri as a whole and Rusty Nish in specific, we could see a good race.
I'm inclined to agree with you, but I have noticed that Rusty Nish has not even set a time yet. And Arvi Ferrello, I think he has only set the time once at the beginning of the quali. So both of them have to give a very solid lap, because if you look at it, we have less than 4 minutes now. So most of the drivers will get one good lap out. And yeah, I have a feeling that Gods and Avi might have a good climb, because both of them have, been very unlucky with the quality today. So they have a lot to make up for, and it will be an uphill battle.
Are we for sure? Like, we've seen him climb up the back even after falling down from, say, pole position. Sorry, not pole position, P2, I believe. Highest race start in the league for him. So yeah, clearly he's very, very capable of doing it. And as we saw at Vietnam, if my memory serves me right, could be wrong though. But yeah, looking forward to that climb by both the drivers. Gouts, however, depending on if he can continue the kind of style of racing he's developed in the past couple of races, then cool. But he goes back to his same old antics of holding back in the start. I don't think that's going to work out for him, honestly.
Yeah, if he tries to play safe, then it will be very difficult for him to gain those places, and he might have to settle with a non-point finish today.
2.5 minutes left to start qualifying. Both the Mercedes in the front for now. I will say for now.
They have swapped places though. Yeah. So Fries is currently P1. It was Honing, but only just. Honing is 1/10 behind Fries, a little more than 1/10. But yeah, the Mercedes again looking very strong in quali. It's the race that matters for them now.
Yeah. And the driver who we've spoken very little of, who looks like he's in a promising position today, Hyrox24, Chris Bai's teammate. I don't think he's finished in the points too often in the past couple of races, but today looks like he'll be starting in a strong position. In the top 5 it almost seemed like it, but right now he's dropped down to 7th fastest.
We must not forget that we do have 2 medium runners in Sicknig and UK, so the around on the softs will gain an upper hand over these guys, and I think it might be futile to battle. So ultimately this will boil down to what tire strategy and what pit strategy the teams choose to employ.
We'll see 5-6 in the top 10. I'm pretty sure that's what he'll be looking out for as well. Considering Gouts has been disqualified, he's got the task of making the climb, so to speak. How the table's done, like honestly, I'd expect Big 356, considering the changes he's made, he has been improving. Yet he's putting himself ahead of his teammate. Impressive.
For sure, and I think this is the best qualifying position by Wix so far in this season at least.
Yep.
So
hopefully
the wheel is finally doing some good.
Yeah, hopefully it sticks. With 45 seconds, just under 45 seconds now left, times can change. And of course, if there's one time that's going to change, we all know it's going to be General Pepe's. He's on a fast lap going through sector 3. Across the final corner, main straight.
Anybody in the pits now will not qualify further because we only have 20 seconds left. So these will be the final lap times that we'll be seeing now.
Surprising, General Pepe could only go 3rd fastest, but does start another lap time. So this will be a proper lap by the lad.
And if you haven't realized, Sarthak, he is currently P3 on a set of mediums, nonetheless.
Yep. But we have seen him, out-qualify folks on being on the mediums, going up against drivers who are on the softs. People get taken aback, but it looks like Chris Bai won't be able to set a lap time anymore. 4th fastest as it stands. I wonder if UK can go faster. Staying on board General Pepe, however, because we possibly could see the pole lap out of this driver.
Almost preparing to accelerate at the turn 6, I think, turn 6 exit. So
yeah,
that was a hairy moment.
Fries retired from the session. Is that voluntary retirement off of qualifying? I wonder. But he is currently on provisional pole. Okay, UK goes as well, which means UK will start in P5 unless the drivers at the back somehow beat his time. We stay on board General Pepe. Horning's in the pits as well, so if there's anyone, General Pepe goes in, which means Fries could possibly keep this pole position. Yep, Sicknig has invalidated his lap. Vixley56 seems to have invalidated his lap as well. Rocket Man on a fast lap.
Continuing after all.
You broke a bit, Ruds. Can you repeat that for us?
Yeah, I was saying that even General Pepe invalidated his lap starting sector 3, so there was really no point of continuing anymore.
And Rocket Man will begin the race in P15, which means for the second time this season, Freeze is on pole position.
And we have another Mercedes front row lockout.
Yep, amazing. Who would have thought we'll get 2 front row lockouts within 6 races of the start of Bwoah Racing League Season 4?
And from the same team.
Yeah.
That's even more surprising.
Impressive. Same team, same drivers. Brilliant stuff. Sicknick qualifies P7. He'll be glad about it. I'm pretty sure if KDB hears about this, he'll be equally excited for the team. But this will be our starting grid. Freeze on pole position, horning his teammate right alongside him. General Pepe on the second row alongside Chris Bai. UK in P5, Mr. Wex running P6, a good qualifying position at that. Sicknick P7, Vixty 6 puts himself in the top 10, P8, Hyrox 24 as well, P9, Accelerate, highest qualified Red Bull, P10, Rusty Nish right behind, Gambler, so that's Red Bull AlphaTauri and Red Bull start in the midfield. Going down the order, Baby Shumi, RB Ferrero, surprisingly, in P14, will be starting in P14, Rocketman P15, D Avocado P16, VPA in P17, and if I'm not wrong, that's Rusty Nish in P18.
Yeah.
P19 will be Avi, and P20 is Gouts. We've got a race ahead of us for sure. An impressive race it's going to be. If the Mercedes drivers can keep it on track, can keep it clean, they got it sealed for this race, I'd say, with General Pepe being the only threat. So I'd say the best case scenario for Merc drivers right now, keep it clean, finish the race, and at least podium. Like getting both the cars on the podium should be a huge, advantage in the constructors at least.
Yep, and I have a feeling that we might be having a new lobby because there seem to be a lot of disconnections going on. It's better to play it safe.
It's happened again, huh, Ruds?
Yep.
Yeah, pretty much. Folks don't
Sometimes
go anywhere.
it turns out to be very unreliable, especially when it comes to unranked lobbies.
Yep. No worries. As we lobby up once again, we will have a custom grid. So the grid I just explained to y'all will be the grid. We'll be starting off the BRL Season 4 Spanish GP with Freeze on pole position, horning right behind. I'm excited. I'm pumped. Let's hope turn 1 won't witness any carnage of any sorts. And I should mention the drivers don't really enjoy this race. I think this is a track which I remember even Rusty Nish saying how sometimes the race tends to be boring at the Spanish GP. But they've said the same things about Vietnam, haven't they? And look how that turned out.
For sure.
Yeah. Right. Give me a heads up when the lobby's up, Ruds. Meanwhile, folks in the chat, make sure you drop who you're here for, who you think's gonna lead the race out of turn 1. I think that's a question I keep asking every time, and a wild question at that. More often than not, you'd see someone like the likes of Big Man Joe, who would have qualified in top 5, quickly get the jump on the front runners and lead the race. We've seen KDB pull off similar, I don't want to say stunts, but okay, now I'm at a loss of words. But nonetheless, I see Freeze getting some support in the chat. Rafnan showing his buddy Freeze, asking him not to spin. Yep, I'm pretty sure that'll be his objective as well. And for the 7 of y'all watching, make sure you drop in the chat who you're here for as we lobby up. This is race number 6 of a season-long 22 race season. And as I get the invite, UK, thank you, my friend. UK, will be interested to see where UK finishes this race. And of course, support coming through in the chat for VPA as well, as he steps in the spot of Big Man Joe. Big shoes to fill. He'll be aiming for a points finish at the least today.
You've got a good feeling about any driver. I think this time maybe the Mercedes will be able to do something magical.
Yep, like I said, if they can manage to get their strategies right and keep the car on track, much like every other driver has to. But it's just that every time we have these, pair of drivers qualifying in front, we saw with Vex and Avi, we saw with Freeze and Horning as well in the last time around when they had a front row lockout. Bad luck hits them, or perhaps chaos hits them, if you might say. So making sure to avoid that will be the goal, I'm sure. Freeze had a nasty spin in preseason testing here, so I'm pretty sure he'll be hoping to not repeat that in the race.
It was almost comical at that time, and he also certainly thought the same way. But this time things are different. This is a much more serious lobby. We almost have all the drivers lined up. Just 3 more drivers to go before we start the race.
Let's talk about Alpha Tauri in particular. I'd expect them to set better lap times, but they couldn't. Could we possibly see a good climb from Ferrello? We've seen him do it. Do the good climbs, capitalize on safety cars and whatnot. I wouldn't expect a safety car to come out this race, but then again, you never know. But yeah, folks, like you saw from last season, not many moves will be made perhaps through the race, but again, I could be wrong. Main straight will be where the drivers will fancy for position. Just looking forward for the race to begin. All eyes on the 2 Mercedes drivers who are starting in the front row.
Yep, we have our custom grid, which is being set up right now. So we're all good to go in a while. Are you expecting any turn 1 shenanigans? Because Barcelona is sort of known for its rather, eccentric approach, maybe.
What I'm obviously, worried about is the folks in the midfield, because I think there's gonna be a lockup of the tires. There's gonna be a bit of chaos, perhaps. I think in the front, Freeze and Horning are going to be cautious because they're on the radio together. General Pepe, of course, 3-time race winner in the league, he's going to be cautious himself, looking for a gap to get the jump on the 2 drivers in the front. But yeah, anything's possible. Like we saw earlier on, Avi sending it straight into turn 1 when he qualified P2. But yeah, midfield. I just hope there's not too much chaos and we don't have retirements on the first lap, because a lot of preparation goes into a league race across the week, as you might say, and seeing all of that go down in a matter of a corner is quite disappointing.
I surely hope that is just a temporary thing and it does not stick throughout the season.
Yeah. As it stands.
I'll also be interested, by the way, Sarthak, I do want to know the kind of strategies each team will take. Would they maybe compromise on the pit stops and nurse their tires to the end, or would they go, completely mega mode on and just get as many pit stops as possible to nail those lap times?
I'd say Vix356 would be trying the latter. Again, I've been proven wrong before, but I have a huge hunch that's exactly what he'll be trying. But yeah, I'm curious. It's the midfield. All eyes on the midfield, in my opinion.
You can actually make a one-stopper work, but that's a very, very delicate balance. So the drivers will be starting on the softs, will have around 9 laps of life in them before they approach the puncture area, puncture territory, and the only option to do is either go on mediums and go for a 2-stopper or go for the hards and somehow manage it to the end. It's a very, very critical balance. But if you're in the mediums, you're pretty much sorted. You can just go from mediums to hard. So we do have UK and Sicknick, if I'm not wrong, who are in the mediums. So they are currently in the prime position to get the race lead when the front runners start, pitting.
Bit of banter there for you. Earlier on in the WhatsApp group, I think one of the drivers, Sicknick in specific, I'm not sure if Sicknick asked the question or answered it that way, but one of them asked how much life the softs will have, and someone replied just 2 laps. So
Yeah. To be honest, Spain is literally a European Bahrain in that regards because the tires do not last that long. But I think 9 laps is still a respectable session for them. I think many drivers would try to push it to 10 laps maybe, because for a 33 lapper, there's only so much you can do with your hards as well, right?
exactly. I'd
We
expect.
seem to have an issue with Steam as well now. Oh, that's the reason why some drivers have not yet joined.
Oh, unfortunate. Okay, we'll be holding off the race for just a bit, folks. Don't go anywhere. Race starts soon enough. Just having issues as always, issues beyond our control. The avocado in the back of the pack. It's really nice to see all these boys coming back on track, stepping in, filling in, of course, for the bunch of drivers missing here today. But yeah, nonetheless, these guys were there on track last season, so to see them out on track this season also will be a treat to watch. All good friends, of course.
And since we are waiting for the grid to start, we might as well talk about the real life Catalunya GP because there is a major change happening this year. I don't know if you remember that, Sarthik, but one of the turns has been overhauled, so to say, to make it a bit more streamlined and a bit smoother. And I think that's a welcome change. It will not only affect F1, but it will also affect MotoGP. So I think that's a welcome thing. I think it's turn 6 and 7 area, which is going to get the change, the turn 5, 6, 7 curve. The corner has actually been sent a bit deeper so that it's a bit more curved and it's a heavier braking zone than before. And I do feel that it might make for some decent overtakes over there.
Right. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, changes.
Most of the times people just say that Barcelona is something that makes them sleep,
Yeah.
So,
like we mentioned before, even the sim racing drivers not too enthusiastic about the race itself. I'm pretty sure Big Man Joe and KDB might not, regret attending this race, but KDB perhaps considering he's fighting for the title. But yeah.
We have received news that Accelerate's Steam is literally asking him to reinstall F1. Oh no. It says all of his games have been uninstalled on Steam. So yeah, Steam just messed up Accelerate real good.
Seems like we didn't have to wait till turn 1 for the chaos, huh?
Yep. Sometimes Steam is all you need. I think Steam and Codemasters have a very discreet operation going on in the background, to make some people stress out from time to time. Well, hopefully there is a way to start the game from the local files. Otherwise, we will have to move ahead without Accelerate. Which is a shame because he could not make it to the last race as well, and he already has a DNS token to his name.
Also, to mention in the chat, our very own Drunken Monkey, the previous race winner of this race, is in the chat. And I think I said the same thing twice.
He was looking forward to race today, but sadly the grid spots were filled by then, and also many teams are currently a bit low on cash.
What a beautiful thing that would be. A driver who's stepped away from the league, either, of course there's only 2 drivers who really stepped away from the league, and our Drunken Monkey or the supreme leader the last name he used in the game, in the league as well. And Thunderbird, if they come back and win a race, I'll be impressed, and I'm pretty sure it'll be a treat to watch as well.
Yeah, and we have some speculations going on that there will be a neat little driver transfer. And many people already know what the driver transfer will be. But yeah, it's in the works, and we will see some stuff soon. We do have 5 more races to go for that before you can see what's gonna happen. But yeah.
All right. Interesting. I'd completely forgotten about the fact that we can have mid-season driver transfers between teams, aren't we?
Yep.
My brain gets racking now. I'm curious who's gonna go where, and how much it's gonna shake up, possibly shake up the title fight, either in the constructors or in the drivers.
I do feel that we will not have just one transfer, we will have more. But I only know about the one. I don't know about the other drivers, but I do have a feeling that the team principals are already looking for various options. They're not necessarily that, but I might have to go offline for a bit, Sarthak, because I have to go and see what the issue is happening exactly. So I'll be right back.
Alright, go ahead, folks. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back. We're gonna disconnect just a bit. You will keep seeing the race number 6 BRL Spanish GP graphic on your screen as you see it now. Do not go anywhere. Meanwhile, why don't you go ahead, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button as well. Sorry for the story, but we gotta make sure the drivers are all set and ready to go for the race. Stay tuned.
Well, the situation seems to be fixed now. There was a lot of technical hoo-ha, and steam was not being kind, but we have everything back on track, and Accelerate is in the lobby now.
Okay, fantastic. It's always fun to know that we're going racing once again. Rick 356 was a driver eager to start the race with or without Accelerate, perhaps.
Well, considering he's the lobby leader, he might be feeling a bit impatient.
Yeah. Much like all lobby leaders these days, ain't that right? And anyway, unracked lobbies are a topic of discussion for Rims and Sim. Right now, the drivers will ready up soon enough. I jumped in to the Mercedes box and asked them how they're feeling. And Freeze mentioned that he could have set an even better lap time if he had not spun in turn one. Apparently, he did during qualifying. But yeah, his lap time did assure him pole. And he's just hoping for a nice clean race. And not spinning on the formation lap was one of his, hope. Something he's hoping for.
Yeah, and I think turn one is always like that. It does not be kind to him at times, and I do feel that this time he'll be extra cautious.
Yep. I'm sure. I mean, this kind of opportunity doesn't come, too often. Having both drivers on the front row twice in a matter of 3 races, like, that's brilliant. That's never happened in the league ever, let alone even front row lockout. These guys were the first ones to set it themselves. But anyway, they're all set and ready to go. BRL Spanish GP Season 4, race number 6.
I believe that we've already completed 25% of the season. Is it Sarthak? It's kind of nice in a way, but yeah, you don't expect how quickly it passes.
Exactly, right? And look at the title contenders. It's just General Pepe and KDB. We've had more title contenders in the past. I still feel the latter half of the season will be entertaining, but given that we could possibly see General Pepe walk away from this race with a extended lead in the championship fight, will the championship go down to the penultimate and final races? Will it not? It's all up in the air to be decided, at least.
Yeah, for sure. I think that after round 11, when we will start our transfer window as well as the mid-season break, the mid-season champions, so to say, will dictate the pace for the rest of the season. That's what I feel.
Right. Yeah. And back to something we keep talking about, the fact that most of these drivers just recently jumped onto the wheel. One of them being the driver on pole position here today. It's incredible how he's been able to adapt to the wheel so quickly. I don't think we've seen even Big Man Joe or UK qualify on pole position in the league ever since they switched to the wheel.
Yeah. And I don't see any drivers particularly struggling with the wheel right now. I mean, they could be slow, but at least they're not struggling.
Yeah.
Because what I would call Wicks was not struggling.
Precisely.
Wicks was basically being tortured, but
Yep.
he was torturing himself, and honestly, it worked out.
And he was brave to do what he did, switching off all assists, at least most of it, and going out on track. And he's improving race on race. Driver of the day twice. Points finishes as well. As you've seen, he qualified in top 10 today. Possibly a good race here at Circuit de Barcelona-Catalunya as well.
I think a P5 for Wicks will be a good day and
I'm
a
sure.
job well done.
I'm sure.
At least.
We're all set to get the formation lap going. Mr. Weck seems to have disconnected, so he'll probably jump back in for the race itself. And the two Mercs lead the pack as once before they did. And much like real Formula 1.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting to see how often we compare that, BRL is a bit different from the real life F1, but so far this season, the only lockouts we've had are the Mercedes boys.
Incredible. And that Freeze leading that pack, horning right behind, and General Pepe on their tail. The two Mercs have the driver who's been the most competitive so far this season on their tails. And they've got Chris Bwoah to worry about as well.
Yeah, there seems to be a little bit of lag. That's the complaint from the driver. So I think that it was not an internet issue, but rather a Codemaster server issue.
Seems like top 10, about 5 drivers on the mediums and 5 drivers on the softs.
Our drivers are leaving the session. I don't know why. Vex, I think the game crashed, so he's joining back. Hopefully they join before the formation lap ends.
Alright, predicted pit stop strategy popping up. Vex has
General Pepe is milking the moment, Sarthak. As you can see, the Mercedes boys are already at the start-finish straight. And General Pepe just started Sector 3 for everyone else as well.
Smart lad Pepe. On the mediums, he's got his driver on softs right behind him to be worried about. And if he gets that jump going into turn 1, who knows what this race is going to turn out to be. Yep, he's going to line up on the grid on the second row alongside Chris Bwoah, who he's shared the podium with twice already. And they got UK right behind. What an incredible lineup of drivers we've got here today. Even though we are missing KDB and Big Man Joe, race winners of BRL. And yet again, a race winner begins a race. Will lead the race in BRL, as I hope I don't have any sorts of glitches. I'm on board, Freeze. 5 lights will go out. And away we go. It is Freeze getting a brilliant start. Horning seems to have had an even better start. And he should be able to take race lead instantly. And right behind General Pepe being a bit conservative, letting the Mercs do their thing. But right behind him, Chris Bwoah goes into a spin. Unfortunate for him, Chris Bwoah falls down the order. UK running P4 now and Rex running P5. It seems like Chris Bwoah got sandwiched between UK and Mr. Wex.
And brilliant start from Horning. We had 2 different contrasting race starts, to be honest. Chris Bwoah was the one coming out not so good from it.
Yeah, and meanwhile at the back of the pack, Goud seemed like he had made an incredible jump in position, but I think there's quite the battles going on. So let's jump to that. But right up in front, UK taking the fight to Freeze, who's fallen down to P3. Horning leads this race as of now.
You were bound to have the softs putting pressure on the medium runners as well as for the lead, but then General Pepe is P2 with the mediums, UK is P4 with the mediums.
McLaren's off track. That is Thor. He's having issues. He's going on off track. He's going on to the grass. Rocketman holds firm in P12. He's made a 3-position jump already.
Yeah, UK did say that Thor is facing a lot of lag. There's a severe lag, so that might be the reason why his escapades have been so messy so far.
Rocketman dives into the pits. I wonder if he's got damage. General Pepe leads this race. Horning. Oh no, Horning leads this race. That was a minor glitch. Yep, the game's glitching. As it stands, from what we understand, Horning leads this race with General Pepe right behind and Freeze running P3. UK behind him.
I would say that this has been one of the better starts of Season 4 and certainly the one which we expect to see race in, race out. The only difference might be that KDB is involved in the mix, as well as Big Man Joe.
Sector 2 goes yellow. I wonder what went down there. I think Accelerate has gone off track perhaps. Let's stay on board. Incredibly slow Accelerate. He's on track, so that's great, but he dropped down in position incredibly. Right up ahead, however, it's a fight for position between Baby Shumi and Ferrello.
Baby Shumi doing decently well, although every time we say that he gets cursed, so I don't want to say anything like much, but fantastic from him. He has shown consistent upwards trajectory and yeah, nothing but happy for him.
Lap times being beaten one by one up ahead, and Freeze will be looking to close that gap before General Pepe steams off ahead. He is on the mediums. This is Freeze's shot at possibly closing the gap. Otherwise, he's going to leave his teammate and the teammate's position up for grabs. Vic 356 holding firm at P7, awaiting the drivers in front to make a mistake. Hyrox 24 fancying around the outside, peaks and kind of messes up. There's contact between Vic 356 and Hyrox 24 as Vic 356 dives down the inside, at least peaked, holds back.
We will have an interesting fight because DRS has been enabled from this lap.
Freeze has retired from the session, and which part of the track is that?
He's on the straight. If we can go to accelerate, we'll be able to see what happened. Oh, he's parked on the side.
Oh yeah, and he's lost his front right. Disaster for Freeze. Oh no. The driver who started on pole has retired from the session. Another horrible race for Freeze.
I think this is Freeze's third race in a row where luck has not been on his side. And it all started with China, and finally Spain was looking good of sorts. But then, yeah, maybe it was a lap too late, but disaster did strike.
Yep. But his teammates still in the race, leading it as well. General Pepe did peek down the inside, but couldn't quite get a gap that he needed to get the move done. Yeah, it's going to be all comms for the team principal and the driver who was on pole position here today. Freeze is going to make sure Horning stays in this race, possibly pulls off a podium. A race win will be the most ideal of scenarios.
Mr. Wex with a 3-second time penalty while he's running in P4.
UK running P3. Everything's looking good until Vic 356 going down the order. He has spun. He's lost an end plate in the process. He's fallen down to P10.
It will not be a pleasant sight for him because if you lose an end plate at Barcelona, you are going to be going wide at every single corner. These are some hard corners, Sarthak.
Yeah. And with all the battles between drivers and the glitch of the game itself, the different glitches that occurred, we failed to notice Avi has made the climb all the way up to P7.
Starting P19 and ending up P7 in a matter of 5 laps. Now that is what you call resilience.
Incredible. Ferrello made a mighty climb himself, P15 all the way up to P6. So yeah, both drivers looking strong as you might expect, and up in front, wheel to wheel, go Pepe and Horning through sector 1, and Pepe just might have taken the lead of the race.
Yes, he has, and on the mediums nonetheless. So Horning has his work cut out from him. Not only has he got one more pit stop extra, but maybe even if he decides to go for a one-stopper.
Oh, he's lost it! He's lost it! And it's another retirement for the team. He lost his rail after going on top of the curb, and Horning has broken his front right just like his teammate did a couple of laps earlier, and he's stranded out on track. It went from great to bad to worse. I don't even know what to say anymore.
Calls for a 3-second time penalty with multiple warnings, but we will see this, Sarthak. I don't know what else to say. Is it just the Mercedes with the bad luck, or yeah, I just don't know what happened, but really, really sad for the Mercedes. Really, really, it must be crushing.
Super unfortunate. Honestly, the drivers were on the front row. They started on the front row, and to see both of them retire within 6 laps, I mean, absolute disaster.
And from the same spot.
Yeah.
It was at the exact same spot for both of them, and in the same way.
Oh Lord. Okay, I'm still surprised Freeze left the session. Of course, I'd be pretty disappointed as well. But General Pepe leads this race. Safety car did not come out. UK running P2, Ferrello running P3. So Ferrello, all the climb. I mean, P15 up into P3, brilliant. Hyrox 24 in a promising position. A position his teammate usually runs in and was running in, set to run in as well. P4. on the softs, however, and the driver in front, Ferrero, on the hards.
Yeah, this is a race that Renault, Williams, and AlphaTauri will do their best to capitalize on, because with the two more drivers out, it's initial point positions that's up for grabs for anybody. And so far, only Renault are taking the most opportunities out of it. But Williams is right there.
Yep.
General Pepe gets a 3-second time penalty.
And
Now
so-
that is new.
And sector 2 and 3 go yellow. I wonder what happened there.
I guess it was more of just a rear end slipping out for a while, but everything seems to be all right.
And VPA gets a 3-second time penalty. Forms a Vex looking good within a second of accelerate. We'll be fighting for position soon enough. All three drivers there, P5, P6 and P7, have penalties. Locks up the front left, however, Vex. Oh, game blur.
And I think General Pepe has just lapped Rastinish and Thor Sarthak, so AlphaTauri need to do everything possible to gain something now.
Meanwhile, we missed out on an incredible move by Gambler on the inside of VPA, who wants his position back. Clearly, he's trying to wrestle the car around as well, trying to get around the outside of Gambler, but loses a bit of time in the process, which means Gambler has another gap to close. A huge gap, in fact, 10 seconds to Gouts.
Had a reasonable start considering he was P20 and helped by the DNFs, of course. He's on P12 and that is by no means a shoddy feat.
Up ahead, Hilux 24 dives into the pits, so 7 laps his softs lasted for. You'd expect them to push it a lap or two more.
I expected lap 10 frankly, because the lap 9 is like the theoretical cliff for the tires, for the Reds at least. And you can be a bit ballsy and go to lap 10, but at least lap 9 was the minimum, according to me. But maybe they have some alternative strategy planned. Sector 3 is yellow. There seems to be a Ferrari there at the end chicane. And I think it is Wix 356. Yes, it is.
There's a penalty for corner cutting as well. Avi, the climb continues. He's within half a second of Ferrello. He's on the hards. I mean, absolutely incredible by the lad, I must say.
Both Ferrello and Avi have had the best race so far, and both of them are on the same tire strategy as well. So it'll be very interesting to see who goes for an undercut or an overcut, perhaps.
Clearly, I was wrong when I said Rastinish is possibly the driver to look out for and have a good day. It's Ferrello, however, put himself in the podium position. UK running in the podium positions as well. Avi looking nice and good. He should be able to fight for position in the next couple of corners.
Harry Rocks gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings.
That's gonna take a, it's gonna cost him at the end of the race, I'm sure. Race this close, and Hyrox seems to be having a good one until this far. I mean, penalties is not something you'd want to rack up.
Undoubtedly, even after his pit stop, he's sitting in P10, and Gotts is right there, on P11, and he's on the hards. So I think Gotts is pretty much settled for his pit stop, but Harry Rocks has one more to go.
Javi and Ferrello go through sector 2. It stands right behind. Avi has accelerate 4 seconds off over. Sector 2 goes yellow, and there's a Ferrari on track. I think has spun as well. There's a Ferrari or an Alfa Romeo? Ferrari, I presume, and it's 656.
Wix did so well to start so high up in the qualifying, but then I don't know what went wrong. That one pit stop has shaken things up quite a bit for him, and then those spins didn't help either.
Yeah, and I think the most recent spin I mentioned, it could have been one of the Alfa Romeos, and I have a feeling it was VPA.
Yeah, possible. Both the Alphas will be counting on their teamwork and their skills to get through, because Big Man Joe is not here to help build a lead of any sorts.
Can we just take a bit of time to appreciate how Sicknig has stepped up his game today. I mean, he's running P7. He's within half a second of Mr. Wex. He's doing incredible out there. I mean, this is the kind of result KDB might just want every race out of him, as he tried to peek around the outside of Mr. Wex. It almost seemed like they were going to come into each other, but Sicknig holding firm, and Mr. Wex has a feisty driver behind him.
I think something will happen here because this is the DRS straight, and yes, quickly gaining.
Down the inside he goes. Sicknig should have the position done, unless Mr. Wex with the cheeky.
That was just way too deep, braked very late.
Yeah, unfortunate for him, and let's hope it doesn't cost him a position. Chris By on his tail within half a second. So this is an interesting set of cars, three of them, the Renault, Racing Point and the Williams.
Gots and Chris By both getting 3-second time penalties while we were watching the overtake.
And Chris By diving into the pits. 9 laps on the softs. Well done, Chris By.
This was the kind of tire life I was expecting, to be honest, and 10 laps on the softs is a humongous feat. He can clearly go on the hards and be done with a one-stopper, which he does. So yes, the calculations were right, as the ancestors foretold.
Speaking of the hards, Avi locking up his front left. Seems like he's lost a bit of time to Ferrello, who's on the same set of hards, 10 lap old hards.
Yeah. Sicknig and Mr. Wex are approaching the DRS straight once more, and Sicknig is even closer than the last lap. So I do feel that this time he will carefully plan his braking point. But might be he got a very poor exit.
And Wex doing a good job there, defending off the Racing Point driver.
Pepe in comfortable P1 and UK comfortably in P2. None of them really getting challenged by each other, and RB Ferrello is busy fending off Avi to try and mount a charge on UK. So I think the only changes we'll see is when the pit stops start happening.
Yeah, and I'm sure UK will be looking to close that gap. I mean, this is possibly... I mean, a race win is on the cards for him, considering General Pepe has a penalty.
Yep. And the mediums will start going off the cliff after 16 laps. So I think General Pepe will have to be a bit risky with his strategy in order to ensure that there is a 3-second gap at all times.
Sicknig came close enough to Mr. Wex once more. As he keep it close, brilliant driving by the Racing Point driver. Sicknig clearly gets 3-second time penalty after multiple warnings. Not something you'd want to see. But the race goes on.
He does not. Sadly, it's always that corner, and he always falls just short of it.
20 laps to go. General Pepe leads this race. UK right behind, Ferrello running in P3. And a real close Avi made the climb all the way from the back of the pack and on the main straight. Dives down the inside, peaks, however, couldn't get the momentum he needed. Stays on the tail of Ferrello, spins, loses his rear, and is parked in the middle of the track. Ghosts, and a Ferrari passes by. While Sicknig still within half second or so of Mr. Wex, that would have costed Avi a bit of time up ahead. Fortunate spin. VPA returns as well. Gouts looking promising. Running P10, highest running driver for his team. Rusty Nish running P17, his horrible race after quite some time. You don't see him running at the back of the pack too often these days, Rusty Nish.
Yeah, I wonder what went wrong. I mean, other than the apparent qualifying strategy that went wrong for them, both the AlphaTauris were on the back foot, but RB Ferrellos had capitalized on it. Rusty Nish couldn't.
Had a bit of a glitch, but General Pepe seems to have pitted. Yes. He's gone into the pits. for a fresh set of hards. UK leads this race once again. Yet again, he has led the race once before. This season, in fact. Car number 69.
Yep, and he will be looking for anything he can do in order to get this victory nailed down and in his name.
Sector 2 and 3 go yellow. And there's a stranded Red Bull, I'd assume.
That is Gamler,
It is
who has
Gambler.
spun out.
Trying to get the car back on track and going. Sector 2, 3 is still yellow. Back on track. Get ready to go racing. VPA approaches Gambler. Will be looking to get the position back, I'm sure.
Gamler was pretty much on the line and well on racing speed, but he dives into the pits, so VPA gets the position anyway. And UK dives into the pits. Oh, okay. I was kind of scared that he would have hit Gamler, but luckily it was a ghosted car because it's a back marker.
I mean, he's been caught with bad luck earlier on this season and the latter half of last season in the pits, but kept it clean, however. Good to hear that. Sector 3 goes yellow as UK comes out on a fresh set of hards. Ferrello leads this race. General Pepe running P2, Avi running P3, and UK comes out P5. About 10 seconds is the gap to Pepe, UK's gap to Pepe.
That is quite a significant gap, to be honest, because they barely had one lap in between them.
UK can make sure his pace is like up to the mark, that he's really giving it his all. If he can keep within, I'd say, 3 seconds of Pepe, he's got a possible race win in his hands.
Yeah, for sure. All UK has to do is just closely follow Pepe, and even if there is no overtake possible, as long as he's behind Pepe, he has a good chance of getting it. But Pepe sets the fastest lap while we mention that fact.
Meanwhile, Rocketman running P12. The Alfa Romeo driver will be looking to finish in the points.
I think anything in P8 and P10 is good for Rocketman.
But to see him compete, fight for position in P5, P6 in the races earlier on, and to not see him finish in those positions are really disappointing. So I hope for a good race for him for the rest of the Spanish GP right now. As up ahead, there's a fight perhaps? No, Vex is just lapping Thor's ghosted car.
Wicks with another 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. So maybe after having a good quali, Wicks maybe used up all his luck and there was none left for the race now.
Baby Shumi exits the pits on a fresh set of hards. Meanwhile, The Avocado running 45 seconds off of Baby Shumi. He's ghosted, so I presume he has disconnected. VPA dives into the pits. Sector 2 goes yellow. Wonder what happened there. It is a McLaren of Thor, perhaps? Yep, it was Thor's. McLaren seems to have reconnected, so that's great. Here I have another driver back. Meanwhile, a bunch of drivers go into the pits. Accelerate, Sicknig will come out on a fresh set of hards. And fight for position as Chris Bai dives down the inside of Gouts. And Gouts will be looking to take back that position, I'm sure, but doesn't seem to have the pace. Chris Bai on 5-lap-old hards, while Gouts on 16-lap-old hards. Running in the points, nonetheless, the Ferrari driver will be happy about that. Sector 2 goes yellow, and seems like right up ahead, it's an Alfa Romeo VPA who reverses onto track. Lucky for him, ghosting's on.
That would have ended in a disaster if he was not a back marker. But yeah, I think it might get reported even.
And Vex loses a bit of his rear that goes on to the gravel but keeps it on track. Very, very impressive by Mr. Vex. Sector 2 goes yellow yet again. Just for a while. Yep, the gaps are becoming bigger now, Ruds. So clearly, now's the time you possibly won't see many swaps in positions, and possibly the only swap in position is if an incident occurs somewhere or someone dives into the pit stop for a pit stop.
Yeah, true. And as for the front runners, only RV Ferrello and Avi look to be the ones who'll pit soon, as well as Harry Rocks, maybe in another 5 laps. So we will have General Pepe with the net lead and UK with the net P2. Accelerate might fancy up if it works out well. There's a thought.
Huge gaps developing at the back of the pack. VPA coming out of the pits on the softs, fresh set of softs for him. But yeah, the largest gap up in front is between Hyrox 24 and UK. Just over 10.5 seconds. General Pepe sets the fastest lap time of the session, 1 minute 18.342 on the hards.
Believe it or not, Sarthak, but this was his 3rd fast lap in a span of 4 laps.
He's steaming,
so, man on a mission.
Yeah. And the game seems to have glitched just a bit. RB Ferrello has left the session. Now this has happened to him once before. He's been having a pretty good race today. And reconfirm the positions for me, Ruds. What does it say RB Ferrello is on? Is he in P12 for you too?
Yes, it shows P12, which is a little bit confusing.
Yeah.
I guess, okay, yes, RB Ferrello's game has crashed. I just saw the pop-up that he's joining F1 again. And hopefully that corrects his position as well on the track.
I'd hope so too. Chris By running P6. The gap's close, but hopefully the game hasn't glitched for me there. Yep, gap's close enough. Accelerate up ahead within a second of it.
Let's just hope that RB Ferrello's AI does not make RB Ferrello pit while he's still yet to join, because that would be shameful. That would be sad for RB Ferrello.
Where he would have.
Yes, joined.
And he's running P12.
For now, yes, but I think that's a glitch. I definitely believe that's a glitch.
Well, gap's closing up ahead as Gauts dives into the pit. Sicknick will have position. Gauts going into the pits after 18 laps on the hards.
It's an expectable amount, but the hard tires do tend to go for more than 22 laps. You can even push them to 23 if possible, but pitting at 18 is a bit too soon unless Gotham has the idea of finishing it on a medium. Yes, which he does. He comes out on the mediums.
13 laps on the mediums should be good.
Easily, not a sweat to be broken.
By keeping the pace just to be within half a second and making sure that he can capitalize on the mistakes Accelerate makes. Loses a bit of his rear there, Accelerate. That won't help his cause.
From P2 start, by the way. I think he'll be jumping onto a set of mediums, and that will conclude his pit stop strategy.
20 laps on the hards. Well done, Avi.
So that gives UK net P2.
16-second gap to close for him if he wants to stand a chance at competing for the race lead and possibly for the win itself. General Pepe leading this race yet again.
16 seconds in 12 laps, Sarthak.
And
Actually, it's actually 13 laps.
Yeah, Avi's come
13
out.
seconds.
Yeah, Avi's come out of the pits fighting for position with Hyrox 24. And Hyrox 24 is currently running P3.
But Hyrox will have to pit once more. Those mediums will not last him to the end.
So let's
And
hope.
Avi will definitely make a move sooner or later.
Yeah, let's hope Avi
Maybe this
doesn't.
lap itself.
Yeah, let's hope Avi doesn't, cook his tires too much behind this lap. He locks up the front left.
Yeah, but as I was saying, Sarthak, UK has to cover only 13 seconds to be honest, because General Pepe does have that penalty.
Yep.
Yep, Avi makes it. And does he make it stick? Yes, he does. Had to lock his tires a bit, but it worked out.
Top 6. In the top 6 is where competitors are close enough to each other down the order. Now the biggest gap to have developed is 41 seconds between VP and Gambler. Meanwhile, Hyrox 24 dives into the pits like you said, as expected in fact.
Yeah, that will be another set of mediums if I'm not wrong, because those will last him till the end of the race and give him some good pace.
Seems like the Williams drivers are set for a good result, both of them. UK doesn't seem like he's closing that gap much. Quick update on I should probably find out what's happening over at the 24 hours race as well, as the drivers here seem to have huge gaps between them. General Pepe leads this race. Folks in the chat, make sure you drop who do you think will finish this race on the podium.
There seems to be a Williams spun, and I think that is Chris Bhai, Sarthak. So Chris Bhai spun out in sector 3, and he lost one position.
And
Sicknick, so Sicknick is top 5.
And in the chat, KDB coming through. He's taking time out to watch his teammate race. Sicknick's first points finish indeed, KDB. He's running P5. If he can keep it going, he's rightfully filled up the void you've left today. Okay, all good.
And Sicknick really showing the true marks of the team principal and stepping up when it was required. So this is the same form that we saw from him at the end of the season last time around.
Yep.
In the Red Bull.
Yeah, I mean, we'd expect it to, transfer over to Racing Point as well alongside KDB. That's why earlier on I was like very impressed that it's Sicknick and KDB. Sicknick had to only not sharpen, but what's the word? File himself, perhaps, or just mend himself.
A bit
in
more
certain
polishing and
aspects.
refinement. Yes,
there
exactly.
you go. There you go. Thank you, Ruds. Yep. That's all he needed, to be honest. These are the kind of positions I'd expect him to run in pretty much every race. And that's why I feel that team is very, very promising for the Constructors title. Because you see the other title contender, General Pepe, his teammates running in P10 right now, and it's not like he's finishing in the points too often. Baby Shumi.
Yep. Avi gets another 3 second worth of time penalties, taking his total to 6 seconds. So UK has nothing to fear over there, at least for now.
But still, what a climb by Avi so far. Let's talk about that at the last parts of the race. Meanwhile, at the back of the pack, Ferrello running P14, which is presumably a glitch. However, he is fighting for position.
He recently pit, if you can notice, he has 2 lap old mediums. So he is now in the actual position instead of the glitched one.
On the tail of the Avocado, peeks down the inside, dives as well, wheel to wheel with the Avocado in the Racing Point. Yep, Ferrello should have position. Brilliant stuff. Steaming ahead. Next up is Rick 356.
The closest gap currently is RB Ferrello and Vix, and I think he might make the move here. Maybe, but he's a bit too far away for the DRS as well.
Yep, pretty far, and Vic356 doing a good job of making sure Ferrero doesn't get even the slightest of slipstreams he needs. Moving up the order, however, gaps becoming even bigger between the front runners. UK and General Pepe are 18 seconds off of each other. Okay, Ferrello in striking distance off Vic356. Sector 2 goes yellow. I wonder which one of the cars are real close to each other there. It seems like it's the Racing Point and the Renault. Ghosted cars, I presume, but Ferrello on the tail of Vic356.
And Avi is trying to overtake the Avocado, but the Avocado is not leaving him the space, continues racing. This, I think, will definitely be reported, Sarthak, because it's very, very distracting to have a ghost car right there besides you.
I can imagine that Avi holds firm, however, and accelerate, trying to close that gap. Avi's closed that gap by half a second to UK.
We will have to push, and he's on the mediums compared to the hards that the top two are driving with. We will catch up eventually, but those 6 second worth of time penalties will not be kind to him. He has a net gap of 15 seconds right now.
And Ferrello just set purple sector 1.
We might see a late surge by Ferrello, but will it be enough? He has 7 laps and at least 3 positions to get into the points. Maybe show me with 3 seconds of penalty.
Sector 2 goes yellow yet again. And it's a Racing Point and McLaren this time. Yep. 3 second time penalty for Gouts. Not something you'd want running P9. Sector 2 fancy is going yellow every lap pretty much. I think the drivers who will be hoping for a good team result will be the Williams team, the Renault team, and for once the Haas team as well. Baby Shumi running P10. Support in the chat coming through for Gouts, who's running P9.
To be fair, jumping from P20 to P9 overall is a really good race in my opinion. He did have to fight through the field as well while doing that.
With 5 laps to go, 20-second gap between the race leader and his closest competitor. For a race, it's been possibly a disaster race for the two Mercs. I still can't believe that happened.
It was really unfortunate. I'm still reeling from the fact that it's just been very, very unfortunate for the Mercedes. I think February, the month itself, has been a bit unlucky.
Yeah, pretty much. Yep. And now he racks up another 3 second time penalty, Ruds. If this keeps happening, he possibly could lose out on that podium position.
There is a fair chance for that, and if you look at it, Avi is at 9 seconds worth of penalties, while Accelerate is only at 3 seconds. So Accelerate has to make up around 8 seconds worth of gap in 5 laps, and he should be good to go then.
General Pepe showing that he's as competitive as ever. setting the quickest lap out there on the 14-lap-old hards, and that gap to UK only extending even more, gone up to 23 seconds. What a driver he is.
It's interesting to see how the gap with which General Pepe is leading, because right before we started the qualifying session, General Pepe was not in a mood to race, saying that he had just come home, and people are encouraging him to play into the tactics and maybe grant someone else the win. But you can see the difference it makes.
Clearly.
He's super consistent in what he's doing right now, and I don't think that's going to change for the rest of the season.
They come close every now and then. KDB, of course, is closest title contender. It is ironic how this race is going to end. I mentioned that on the final lap. UK running 23 seconds, but he can be happy about a possible podium coming up for him. It's between Avi and Accelerate in the last 4 laps. That last podium position. Both of them been on the podium this season around. Going down the order, Sicknig set for a points finish. He's running within a second of Accelerate, so we could possibly see him run on a higher position as well.
But the thing is, because Accelerate has 3 seconds worth of penalties, whereas Sicknig has over 6 seconds. So he would not overtake Accelerate, to be honest. And he might even lose a position to Chris Bhai, because Chris Bhai has 3 seconds, whereas Sicknig has 6 seconds. So given the gap now, Chris Bhai has to be more than 3 seconds behind Sicknig.
Going down the order, Williams running P6 and P7. Mr. Wex running P8 should be a good points haul for the Renault team. P9 for Gauds. Sector 3 goes yellow. And I hope no tracks off track. No cars off track.
Nope, just a little bit of dipping their toes, or the tires in fact, into the gravel. I don't get why people hate Catalunya circuit. I seem to enjoy Catalunya because maybe it does not make for exciting racing, but it definitely makes for some challenging technical driving. And if it was boring and not a good track at all, then even MotoGP would not be racing here, to be honest.
Yeah. And on that note, UK and Ferrello, the only 2 drivers out there with no penalties.
Keeping their noses clean, and they will be rewarded for that. Chris Bhai with another 6 seconds, another 3 seconds, making it 6. So now Sicknig could overtake Chris Bhai, to be honest.
Okay. It's up for grabs. Position up for grabs. 25 seconds the gap between General Pepe and UK up ahead. Meanwhile, update coming through from our boys who are doing 24 hours of Kailami. Marcus was behind the wheel, running P2.
That is a fantastic climb. Definitely hats off to everyone there at RRR.
We were down in P40. We were down in P40 after an issue with one of the
4
drivers.
laps down.
Yeah, 4 laps down. Oh my god. Oh, it was about 1 a.m. IST today. Yeah. Anyway, more about it later on. And if y'all know about us, RoadRunnerRacingCo Esports, please go to our Instagram. Hit a follow there. We have a podcast which is in for episode number 2. Right after this, we'll give you a pretty descriptive version of the race itself and of the 24 hours race Kailami the Roadrunner Racing boys are competing in. So make sure you go and follow us on Instagram.
Oh, Sicknig goes wide. This is clearly not what he should be doing if he wants to overtake Chris Bhai in over a lap. It's everything to play for this final lap.
Drunken Monkey giving out some advice in the chat for the driver who's leading this race. He could possibly pit and grab the fastest lap as well.
Interesting. That is definitely something he could do, but unless we forget, it is 26 seconds gap to UK with a 3-second penalty for General Pepe. So the gap is essentially 23 seconds. The question is, do you think it's a risk worth taking? Does he pit? Oh, he doesn't
No,
pit.
he doesn't. He will start the final lap as the race leader. General Pepe is set for what could be another win. I'm pretty sure.
To be honest, he doesn't have to pit Sarthak because General Pepe already has the fastest lap right now.
Rusty Nish, however, looking for that fastest lap. He's coming out on the sauce. So is Thor. So both drivers could possibly set the fastest lap. Either driver, in fact.
I wonder how that plays out because they barely have one lap. So this has to be it.
Yep.
Their outlap has to be their final lap. Difficult, but possible.
General Pepe going through sector 1. None of the drivers within possible striking distance apart from Chris Bwoah, of course. He's on the tail of Accelerate. Post-race penalties once added. I wonder how the race finish might just be the top 10. How it'll sum up. Baby Shumi could possibly be in the points, but that gap and the number of penalties he's got doesn't seem too promising. Going through sector 3 is General Pepe, his teammate, leading this race. But what can we say? Penultimate corner, and as he comes across the final corner, General Pepe on the race where KDB is absent. He equals KDB's number of wins. It's not race win number 4, and it comes at the Spanish GP for General Pepe. And UK running P2, 20 seconds off of General Pepe, and I don't think he'll be bothered about it much because he's kept it clean, and that's all that mattered. He qualified pretty well on the 3rd row, if I'm not wrong, and across the final corner he'll come back on the podium for the first time this season. UK P2 at the Spanish GP. Now who will come P3? I'm very curious about this. Avi crosses the line. P3 for him for now, but could possibly Chris Bwoah get that one?
No, it's a very, very big call because Chris Bwoah has 6 seconds worth of penalties as well. So we have our podium finalists.
Alright, Avi wraps it up. What a climb! P19 all the way to the podium.
Accelerate grabs P4 just before the race ends. So yes, this has been the highest finish by Accelerate, I think, this season.
Yeah, looking promising as well. The Red Bull driver, he's a race winner, proven one at that. In the BRL, Chris Bwoah finishes P5. Sicknig, first points finish for him. Sector 3 goes yellow. I hope there's not too much of a fuss there. Hyrox 24 finishes in the points as well, which means there's a decent points haul for the Williams team. And that's a wrap for the Spanish GP. Driver of the day, of course, Avi. P19 to P3. What a climb.
I think we're back in the garage for me. Gautam is in the garage and I'm looking at him.
Oh, yeah, I'm pretty sure his race engineer is on top of the car as well.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's the new aero package.
Yeah, the glitch hit me last race and this time it hit you, Ruds. But on the podium, General Pepe, UK and Avi. Brilliant stuff. 4 wins for General Pepe and the season has barely begun.
Well, this was eventful, but I do think that Abi Ferrello had some sort of glitch. I don't think he would randomly fall 10 positions down.
I'm sure that'll be looked at by the stewards. And as it stands, he's placed P12. So I'm pretty sure he'll report that as well. Yep, Baby Shumi does manage to score a point. It's the first points finish for the second horse driver. As his teammate gets yet another race win. Gouts in the points once again, and a good points haul for the Renault and Williams teams, both their drivers in the points. Down the order, however, Rocketman finishing P11 just misses out on the points. Ferrell, as mentioned, P12 will be reviewed. Vic356 P13, D Avocado P14, Rustiness disappointing P15. He'll be looking to make sure he forgets this race. P16 for Gambler, VPA finishes P17, P18 for Thor, and retirement for both the Mercedes drivers. Disappointing, but I'm at a loss of words for both the drivers. I mean, you have a spectacular qualifying, and the race turns out horribly for both teammates.
Yeah,
only
I'm
little
still
can be
reeling in
said.
from that
Yep.
shock.
Even I am. For the 6 of y'all who stayed till the very end, thank you very much. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, and we'll catch you in the next race weekend, which is Roads Monaco.
Yep, but we do have a 1 week of layover, so plenty of time for these guys to get their practice laps in.
Tune in for Rims and Sim, which will be updated on Instagram, so make sure you head over there and give us a follow. Until next time, folks, cheers.